Today, drama means the supernatural, drama means a fated bond, and drama means chaos with a pinch of trial and error. Hi, welcome to DramaMeans. Today we're talking about the 2026 Thai series, Woo.
And first, a summary. A young man learns he has the ability to sense strange energies that can devour the souls of humans, and is recruited to join a supernatural team in order to stop them.
I wanted to remind everybody that we will be taking a summer break, probably for about a month.
I mean, it'll be hopefully not longer than that. Sometimes we get real lazy about coming back.
Yeah, we've done that before.
But we'll try not to make it too long of a break because we're already at the end of July.
Yeah.
Or I guess this will be the end of July now. So if we take too long a break, we'll be at the end of the year. So we got to get back quick.
Yeah. So, but just a reminder that this will be our last episode until our summer break, and then we will come back after the summer break and then finish out the season. And
it'll give us a chance to catch up on some things. We're watching a ton of stuff. We just need to finish the tons of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway.
Woo.
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 No, it's technically woo.
Woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but in Cantonese, it's actually mo.
But yeah, they do speak some Cantonese in this. A lot of the incantations are in Cantonese, even though the show's Thai, obviously. But it feels like some of the magic draws its roots from...
So it is... The show is Thai, and then whenever they're speaking to each other, like in Chinese, it's Mandarin, right? But then whenever the incantations, which is a very classic Taoist like form of exorcism,
right?
Like these rituals, they are speaking Cantonese, not pronounced very well.
Well, their probably first language and second language is not Cantonese.
Yeah. So, but a lot of, during the incantations, it reminds me of this there's been a lot of these, like, exorcism shows where, the Hong Kong stuff, right, that I grew up watching. But one specifically that I remember and, like, is stuck in my mind is, like, I don't remember if it's late 90s or early 2000s, but there was a really popular ATV show called My Date with a Vampire, and I think there were 3 seasons of it. I have them on VCD.
Old lady.
I know.
VCD. The kids these days don't even know there was VCDs or Laserdiscs.
Honestly, most people in the West, well, yes, the younger generation for sure, but even the older generation, most people in the Western world didn't really know what a VCD was.
It never became a big thing here. We went kind of straight from VHS straight to DVD.
Yeah.
So I think in a lot of other countries in the world, especially in Asia, they kind of had this VCD thing that took over from VHS before it went all the way to DVD.
Yeah. So I do have seasons 1 to 3 of My Date with a Vampire.
So you're saying it's like tonally similar and like, because this had some comedy in it. This had, it was dark and it was mysterious and scary and obviously supernatural, but then also had some comedy and some light moments. Is that was it tonally that it reminds you of that?
Yes, and like the motions of the Taoist rituals.
Like the exorcisms themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Date with a Vampire is like really romantic because the girl is an exorcist and she falls in love with the vampire.
Okay.
Right? And it's like, she goes around and she like exorcises these like different, demons or vampires and like, supernatural beings. And then there's like, but it's like a very like case by case kind of thing with an underlying like romance and with this vampire who actually helps her in a lot of these cases. It's like Buffy, like I loved Buffy back in the day, right?
Yeah, I was a big fan.
Yeah, and so this was like the Chinese kind of Buffy in a sense, you know.
Right. And I would say for this one too, I think there is kind of a Buffy-esque element to the show, the way the team comes together and everyone is kind of this, they're a ragtag group. They're not necessarily meant from the outset to all be part of this story, but little by little they all become this kind of team. And I think that's kind of one of the things that was great about Buffy, is that no one was supposed to fight vampires except for Buffy. But her friends were never going to let her go off on her own.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really strong part of this, too, the way the team comes together. And once they're all in, they're all in.
Yeah. First and foremost, I really like how they kind of become, like, how they get to know each other.
Sure.
You know, like just kind of meeting at this gambling hall and then Niran needing to exercise this thing and then realizes that Pete sees this, you know, gambling demon thing.
Right, the Yao.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pete is realizing for the first time there's something more at play to this bad luck streak he goes on at the casino of, wait a minute, there's something not right here. So that when Niran comes to him and is like, hey, there are things that you don't know about, he's not coming out of nothing.
Yeah.
But he's still skeptical because he doesn't quite understand what's happening.
Yeah. So I do like that. So with a lot of, you know, dramas nowadays, like everyone like knows each other beforehand, and then they like, you know, and I just like, I'm like, why can't we just be strangers that meet another stranger and then become
Yeah, I agree.
bonded, right? And so I'm kind of in this camp where I'm like, I like this. I like how they first meet. I like how they develop their relationship, how, you know, there's don't really want to get involved with each other, but then get involved with each other. And then like to the point where they're like, okay, now we can't live without each other.
Yeah, and I thought too, like this one does a really good job of not just having one character tell the other character what's going on. Like he's literally like, get in the car, we're going somewhere. Because it's so much easier for him to show him what's going on. And like, let me show you that this thing is real, rather than me give you a long speech and give you the history of Yao and tell you what you're seeing and all this blah, blah, blah.
Like exposition.
Yeah, he's just like, it's easier if I just show you. And he knows exactly what to dangle. He's like, here's $20, I'm going to hire you to be my driver.
Yeah.
And he goes along as a pain in the ass kind of assistant. But then his eyes are opened. And then he can become part of the story now. And so it's not just opening exposition and like just characters like showing each other PowerPoint presentations. Like they actually go do something together. And that for me is like the cheat when it comes to bonding. It's not just, oh, we have a similar situation. Oh no, we went through things together.
Yeah.
And I wish more writers and directors would understand. You don't necessarily have to bond characters in an over-the-top way. It's when characters go through things together, they naturally bond. So take the things that are free. Take the drama things that are just free to you, and then heap on the emotions and the friendships around that. You don't have to just manufacture it all on your own.
Yeah. So I do kind of like this, like, new to exorcism and learning, you know, like, what they need to do and what it means and all that stuff. And I like how they develop their chemistry.
I thought they were good together.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this show was originally supposed to air on Gaga Ooh La La,
Yep.
which is a LGBTQ plus only platform.
Right.
Right? And they made the decision to not air it on their platform anymore.
Now, was that due to pressure from outside forces that sort of looked at this as not a BL and said, this doesn't belong on this platform? Was this an internal decision from the network side? Like, how did that, do you know how that happened? I
think it is external. Like, I think a lot of fans didn't believe that it should be on the platform because it isn't a BL, it is bromance. And
sure. We have this conversation all the time, I feel like, now.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, there are definitely productions where they use they use BL and LGBTQ topics to make money, to, like...
Well, I mean, there's a term for it. I don't know. Am I allowed to say the term?
I think so.
It's called gay baiting.
Yeah.
And it happens in the U.S. all the time, where you don't want the show to be LGBTQ.
Is it gay baiting? I thought it was queer baiting.
Queer baiting, gay baiting. I've heard it both ways. But
okay.
yeah, the idea being you have a show that doesn't dedicate itself to giving the message, but you want to attract that audience. So you're like, you just put a toe in and you wink at the queer community going, hey, we're queer friendly, but not friendly enough to actually dive into it.
Yeah.
And I think there are shows that do it.
Yes, definitely.
I'm not sure this is one.
So the thing is with this, it introduces a lot of traditional romance aspects of a pairing, right?
For real.
So it's like they are so bonded with, the red string, even though the string is not red, it's actually gold, right? But it acts the same way.
Yeah,
right?
it's the soul binding of two people.
Yes.
That's not a heterosexual male experience.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a bromance to me anymore. As soon as you're binding your souls and we're talking in those terms, to me, my personal opinion, we've moved past bromance into more of a romance, more of a love. Like, that's a thing you do for someone you love.
Yeah. So I understand that maybe they're not quite like a couple, right? And they're not ready to, have that talk, right? And as we talk about budmance, but they literally bring up the fact that Niran had that charm, right?
Mm-hmm.
That necklace. And his, I think it was his grandpa.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That had told him that was like his Niran's mom's, and that charm is going to bring him to his soulmate.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
And so then it does, and then he ends up giving his necklace to Pete, right? Which is him acknowledging, hey, Pete's my soulmate. I may not have told him that I think that he's my soulmate, but I know deep down that he's my soulmate, right? And these are all like like fate and destiny and romance and bond. It's all there, right? And yes, the words aren't said like, "Hey, I love you," Although I think they did say "I love you."
Pretty close. I mean, there's a few points in there where I turned to you and went, "And this isn't a BL? Are we sure?"
Yeah. Because they didn't kiss, and
they didn't kiss. They didn't make. They didn't get in bed together. They're not naked in a shower.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't do all the things that the BLs do.
And they haven't acknowledged that they're a couple.
Yeah,
right?
They haven't said the word couple. So that's all fair. But at the same time, these two guys don't talk to each other the way heterosexual males talk to their friends. Like, the way that Pete talks to his boys, the little group of Uber, whatever it's called, Food Panda drivers, whatever, they're the little scooter gang.
Yeah.
The way their relationship is, that's bromance. Those are like ride or die homies.
Yes.
No romance whatsoever, but like, I will go to the ends of the earth for you, bud. Like, that's a bond too. It's just not a romantic one. And so, like, if you can't tell the difference between those two things, I start to wonder if you understand nuance.
Yeah. So, I mean, believe what you want, if this is a BL or not, right? Because it's not labeled as a BL.
But also, not to sound like hippy-dippy, but like, can we get past the labels? Like, do we have to label a thing a BL or a not a BL? Like, did you enjoy the story? Do you enjoy watching these people interact? Who cares? Because, like we say, they're using a very similar language to a BL. So, like, oh, no, but, like, does this have enough of that language to put the label on it? Why do we need the label? Just watch the show.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our opinion. But I do like that in this show, it's like, I think it has a good, like, balanced from comedy to seriousness.
I would agree with that.
And most of the comedy comes like with their friendship, and they're like, you know, they kind of joke with each other, they tease each other, they kind of like all mess with each other, and there's just this, it's like a natural comedy.
Yeah, and I think like the situational comedy of it, where Niran ends up buying Pete's house and moves in, and he's like, you can't move in, I just paid my uncle. Like, and he's like, no, I paid him more, so he sold me the house. Like, that idea is comedic in nature.
Yeah.
But then they figure out how to weave it in with the seriousness of what they're going through. So I thought that was really blended really well, especially at the beginning. I thought the beginning of the show was super strong. Like, the first three episodes, like, really strong. And all, like you said, all the character building, getting to know the guys, them coming together, them deciding to work together is like, I was in. Like, and it's hard to do that quickly, and they did it really well.
So I was actually going to ask you, like, when did you think the show kind of dropped off? And so are you thinking, like, episode 4?
I think there's a specific time that I think the show dropped off, and it was a point where the show disappointed me, was when the sister when Pete's sister's in the coma because her soul has been sucked out. And it felt like they're dealing with this one demon for too long, and Krist character's doing all this crazy stuff, and he keeps doing the same thing over and over, and he sacrifices people, and he runs back to his boss and grovels, and then he goes back and sacrifices. Like, it started to feel really repetitive, and then they got to that point where Niran has to make the choice of letting the demon go so that the souls can escape or not, and I thought that's kind of where this show, for me, jumped the shark. I don't remember what episode that was, but it felt kind of midway through, and then the back half of the show felt really dragged out.
I agree. I liked them, like, finding each member of this new, like, gang of misfits. I love the fact that Pete's little ride or die, like, moped gang, like, part of me is like, why would they, like, risk their lives for Pete? Like, are they really that close, kind of thing? And then I was like, you know, after seeing, like, seeing Pete become, like, the monkey, right? And it's just kind of like, and, like, Pete as the monkey kicked their asses.
Well, that was one of my favorite parts of the show, is when he escapes as the monkey, and the 3 homies on the mopeds are like, we'll get him back. Even though they're so outmatched. There's no way that they can succeed, but they're like, it's important. We got this.
Yeah.
And they leap into action and get their asses completely kicked. But it was like the art of doing that, and like the act of getting out in front of it, even though they're completely in over their head. No, they're just willing to go to the ends of the earth for their buddy. So, like, I loved all that. I thought all that stuff of bringing them together, and there was that one scene before they go to kind of face the big demon for the first time where it's like, do you trust us? Are we all in? Because this is going to get scary, and this is going to get weird, and none of us are probably prepared for what's going to happen next. And everyone's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Including the 3 dudes who agree to be the bait. Like, that's their whole job, is to be the bait, you know, and they agree to it.
Yeah. So that was really fun. Those are, like, also my favorite parts, and, you know, I'm such a sucker for, like, you know, like, the found family, the gang of misfits, the mod squad. For me, the worst part was when Pete had to go and, like, get Niran back, like, get Niran's soul back.
Back in the series of flashbacks that Niran is living in, he's lost faith in himself, doesn't believe that he can become Wu, like that sequence, right?
Yeah. For me, that was I don't know, like, I feel like they were trying to do something there that wasn't executed well, and it was also something that I think someone had seen in a different show, a different movie, and they tried to, like, you know, emulate it.
Yeah, it feels like kind of an Inception type, like, oh, we're going to do that Inception thing where we go into the mind and the dream and then try to, like, decipher it and convince him and bring him back from the abyss. And it kind of doesn't amount to much. Like, he ends up succeeding. It's just, I just kind of found that whole thing a little slow, and it kind of falls a little flat. And I don't know if it's only execution or if it's just at that point in the show, it felt like everything went on pause to do this other thing. And then when we came out of the pause, we had the same scenario we had to face that we'd already faced, 2 episodes earlier. And so it's like there was no forward progression. We kind of went through that journey just to be right back where we started.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned before of like the show kind of missing its mark with how much stuff happened in that one episode.
Well, in that one scene. So like there's that, are you talking about the exorcism scene with the betrayals and like the betrayals on top of the betrayals?
Yeah.
So there's a thing in screenwriting we always talk about, which is every scene should be about one thing. Now, I do believe that scenes can be about more than one thing, but at its base level, just when you're starting out writing, every scene should be about one thing. And you don't want to pile all of your reveals and all of your twists and your character turns all in the same scene, because you don't give the audience a chance to absorb them. And we don't get a chance to appreciate each turn on its own, because one turn is stacked on top of the next one. So in one scene, we have Niran defeating the demon, him putting the demon in the box. Then we have Pete realizing that if the demon stays in the box, his sister is lost forever. So now we have to go through all of those emotions between Pete and Niran of, screw you, you didn't tell me this yet. And now I'm mad. Pete storms off. Then Niran does what he was always going to do, which is betray the rest of the Wu people by letting the demon out so Pete's sister can be saved. Those are like massive revelations right jam-packed on top of each other. And we have to digest them like just the biggest, fattest sandwich you've ever eaten. So you don't get to taste any of it. And I think if you space those things out, if you go into it, and the audience knows he's going to betray Pete, and they're pissed, because Pete's just said, ride or die, and then he has a scene with the other Wu, and you're like, how are you going to deal with Pete when he finds out? And he's like, I'll deal with it when we get, this is more important. And then the twist is he's actually betraying them, right? Okay, now we get our chance to live through all of those betrayals, but the way they did it, it was just kind of bop, 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 done.
Yeah, it was so fast that I missed it. I missed the betrayal upon a betrayal.
Yeah.
Like when he punched that pot and let go the demon, right? It didn't occur to me that it was him betraying the rest of the Wu people.
Yeah.
Because it was so like, the emphasis was on Pete being upset, right? And then Niran doing that. But then you miss, like, and then his, I don't know, is he a senior brother or whatever, the drunk guy, right? When he says no, he betrayed us, right? It was so like...
one line of dialogue to try to summate all of that,
yes.
You know?
So I missed that. I was like, wait, what? And then Ryan had to explain it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I missed that because it was like, they didn't put that emphasis there. And like, they should have, because it's a really big character moment, right? Because it's huge. It's such a moment, and it just shows how much Niran loves Pete.
Oh, absolutely. And we get robbed of that love because it is right on the heels of him betraying Pete and Pete yelling at him. And so then, as a cynical audience, we have to question his motives. Did he break that pot because he was always going to, or did he break that pot in that moment because Pete yelled at him? So now it's like that muddies the motivations of what his character is doing. Like, no, we want clean motivations. We want to be able to understand what our characters are going through, empathize with them, and then either agree or disagree with what they just did. Like, that's what we want as an audience. And this, you're just kind of throwing so much at us, we don't get a chance to really form an opinion about anything.
I think that part was such a mistake because it really, like, swallowed up, like, the character motivation, everything about the two. Like, the bond between them is very important in the show. And right then, it kind of put the emphasis on the fight rather than the sacrifice, right?
Yeah, but also the thing that really bothers me is if he was planning on letting the sister out all along, the betrayal to Pete actually isn't a betrayal at all. So Pete getting angry is a gut reaction to something he learns in the moment, which is going to be undone 2 seconds later. Like if he would have waited 20 seconds, he would have seen what Niran did and they wouldn't even have had a fight. Yeah. So the conflict between them is forced and false. Unless the conflict between them causes Niran to make that decision. You know what I mean? So like, which one do you want? Is this a cause and effect or is this false conflict? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a mess. So now I'm like starting to not trust the filmmakers now and going, well, maybe they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
and then it makes me look at everything a little differently. And then the show gets very slow from there. And I went, oh, they blew their wad way too early and didn't spend time on this such an important moment. And now they have to fill the rest of the show with kind of like, not to be a big downer, but a bunch of who cares.
The next part, right? So all this happens within one scene in this one episode. And then at the end of that episode, the beginning of the next arc is already happening.
Right.
Right? So again, not only does the audience not get that like big, oh my God, like it's so romantic. It's so like, you know, that big sacrifice Niran is like making, right? For Pete. We kind of like don't get that, right? And then we immediately have to like rush into, oh no, Niran his soul's been sucked out.
Yeah.
Right? And so we don't have that time. But then also, after Niran's soul gets sucked out, there should be a moment because his whole team has been betrayed. Because his whole team believed that they were going out and they were going to put a stop to releasing this big yell. So I feel like his gang shouldn't be so eager to like help bring Niran back.
Well, there should at least be some complication to helping or some hesitance or, well, his soul is gone, but we have a bigger fish to fry because he did something that betrayed us, 5 scenes ago. Like, you at least have to discuss it.
Yeah.
You at least have to acknowledge that a big thing happened. And I'm finding this more and more with shows these days where big, massive things happen and none of the characters react to the massive thing that happened in a human way. They're just like, either forgive really easy, forget really easy, just roll on to the next thing. And you're like, no, a massive thing just happened. And as filmmakers, you wanted that moment to be massive. So don't tell me it's big, but then the rest of the characters don't behave like it's big.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm being screwed with now.
Yeah, I agree. So in that moment where like Niran is in the hospital and the whole gang is like discussing what Pete needs to do, like I feel like there should have, and I know that the show is only like 9 episodes, so it's like they possibly don't think they have the time to
Bullshit.
Well, I mean, they spent so much time rinsing and repeating with the
This show is the exact right length it should be for what the subject matter is. They just don't use their time wisely in the back half of the show.
Yeah. But it should have been like it was Pete's turn to sacrifice and do things and take it in his own hands to save Niran. And it's not just like, looking into a mirror and praying at this thing and then like, and ending up in like this world where he can go and bring, Niran's soul back. It's just kind of like, because all that stuff was like, just Pete walking around doing nothing.
Yeah, I think what would have been so much more effective is Niran gets into the coma and his soul has been sucked out. And the rest of the team is like, we'll deal with that later. We have to face this demon. And Pete's like, well, how are we going to face it without him? And it's like, well, we don't really trust him anymore, yada, yada, yada. And Pete, who has been this character who just kind of lives by his fists and kind of just dives into situations from the beginning, without really knowing what's going on, is just like, I'll go get him. You're like, you don't know what you're doing. He's like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And he just goes anyway. And it's like, let him go being the unprepared journey into the unknown. That'd be way more fun to watch, of him screw up and bumble and like just try to punch demons in the face, because that's how he solves problems.
Yeah.
And let him solve it in a super Pete way, rather than having the whole team be able to guide him and give him advice before he goes in. It's like, no, I'm going to do this on my own. Screw you. I'm going to go do my thing and save my buddy.
Yeah.
But instead, they just missed again. They missed that opportunity, and then it just kind of all becomes kind of bland.
Yeah, and the thing is, in this aspect, right, what they're trying to emulate is, in a lot of Chinese stories, they, I've talked about this book called The Husky and His White Cat, Sidran, right? So there are moments where these characters, they have to go into the underworld and like collect the souls, of their loved ones, to bring them back, right? And it's a very common theme in a lot of like Chinese stories. I think they're trying to do this, but they don't know what they're doing.
Well, too, also, like, didn't you want, I don't know, maybe I was the only one that wanted this, but I wanted him to solve this problem in Demon Land by turning to the monkey inside of him and being like, hey man, help me out. Because we've seen him fight the monkey and we've seen him overcome the demon inside of him. But now I want to see them work together.
Yes.
And I want him to turn to him and go, hey man, I'm in the afterlife, I'm a little lost. Maybe you can hook me up with a clue, and finally gets a clue.
Yeah.
And then that pushes him forward. Like, that would have been dope.
Yeah. Well, I felt like this whole show, they didn't utilize the fact that there's this monkey demon in Pete.
Well, it felt like he just used him for like physical strength. And that was just kind of the whole thing of it.
Yeah. But this monkey demon is like super powerful, like so powerful, like if it's released, like no one can help it.
Yeah,
right?
Mayhem ensues.
Yeah, but then they're like, oh, you're just gonna control it. It's just gonna live silently in you. Like
And then you can punch and kick a little better.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty much the extent of your superpowers now, is you punch and kick pretty well. And
here far from
and then your body's like what are you, tough enough to handle the demon and the ritual? Like that's kind of it. But like, why doesn't he have access to this demon's thousands of years of demon knowledge?
Yeah. So yeah, I felt that whole, like, it could have been super badass and super helpful, and then it just became this kind of underwhelming, like, plot point.
But I think from that moment we're talking about on the roof, where all those revelations happen, all the way through the end, it literally felt like kind of like just downhill skiing. Like, yeah, like he's in a coma, but like it just doesn't really feel like there are stakes in the afterlife, and that when he goes to get Niran, it doesn't really feel like there are stakes when they go up against the demon again. The demon kills Krist on his own. Like, they don't even have to deal with the bad guy that they've actually fought throughout the show. And I'm like, what are any of them doing at the end? They're just kind of like waiting for the show to roll credits.
Yeah.
Kind of from the halfway point all the way through the end.
And then they had to deal with like the lieutenant general, I think, or whatever that character is, that big politician guy.
The president guy, El Presidente.
Was he though? Oh, was he the president?
He was some sort of big politician.
Prime Minister?
Yeah, something. Yeah. Prime Minister, president.
Yeah.
General, somebody in politics, the mayor of Bangkok. I don't know who the guy was.
But, well, he was like some big political guy, right? And he like didn't want to relinquish his role.
Yeah, because like basically it's not heaven's mandate for him to be. So like they want him to resign, and there's that whole politics, who cares? Like, literally, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, we're battling demons, and then what we get to is like a blackmail a politician to resign scene.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for letting me watch that riveting drama. Like, why? Who cares?
Yeah.
Kill the bad guys in order of badness. I don't know how many times we have to say that. But the baddest of the bad guy, and that doesn't necessarily mean the most powerful of the bad guy. It means the bad guy who's the baddest in the show is the one who has to go out last. And honestly, in this show, it's kind of Krist. He's kind of the one who instigates all of the badness of the show. The demon is just an instrument.
Yeah, and I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I don't want a redemption story for the villain.
Absolutely not. Why? I want to know the reasons they're doing it, their motivations, but don't make me care.
Yeah. And I didn't need to know Krist's, or his character's, background. And,
no, his origin story is, quasi-helpful to, why he's doing it. Uh-huh. But also, it is inconsequential throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah. So, yeah, I enjoyed the beginning. The ending was, I just lost interest completely. And the chemistry, they had great chemistry, but it can't carry the show. And I see this over and over again where, yes, the couple has great chemistry, but the writing is absolute shit.
And I just think the mistake is halfway through the show, they beat the big bad, which is the demon. They put him in a box halfway through the show. After you do that, you can't face that bad guy anymore. You've already won. And so now we go through the back half of the show, whether he goes to the afterlife and we think that's interesting or not, when he comes out, they have to go back to the same roof and do the same ritual against the same demon. There's no way that is going to be good the second time around.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? And they didn't know how to end it because they're like, maybe the demon kills Krist and then the demon just kind of gives up. That's really how the freaking show ended.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a way out of our show for us. And I think that's extra why it just feels unsatisfying at the end and why it leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. A show that should have been pretty great. If you were to grade the first half, really enjoyable and really fun. And the chemistry is good. And then the back half, just the wheels completely came off.
Yeah. And also, they're a band of misfits. The first time around, seeing them, it's oh yeah, they're doing their thing, but after that, they don't do anything.
None. Nobody does anything, though, because they don't have a new plan. It's just the new plan is the old plan, and then it just kind of all works out.
Yeah.
So it just all becomes a big kind of who cares. And I don't know who in making this was just so, you know what we have to do? This, political scene with the prime minister. That's where we're going to get it. Let's build everything to that. I don't know what show you were writing on, but it wasn't the show you started at the beginning of this season.
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm just wondering if that's because, they've had luck with political stances in the past, and they're trying to make a statement, but then it's just so out of place and it doesn't really pertain to their story. But because they've made political stances in previous shows and has luck and gotten popular for it, and maybe they're just throwing it in because they're maybe we can get more popular because it'll resonate with, the public of Thailand.
But what's the political stance? The political stance is people in power should serve the people, and when they stop serving the people, they should leave. Duh. That's not some great revelation in subculture. That's not something you start a revolution over. That's no shit. We all think that.
Yeah.
So you're not saying anything that none of us, don't already know. So if you have a great social commentary to make your social commentary. But okay, bud.
Yeah, super generic.
Super generic. Which is unfortunate because I do think from where we started, the show could have really it drives me nuts because I think the show's fixable.
Yeah, sure.
I think a revised season 1 could really hit, and you could hit some really deep things between the guys, and you could hit some great things between the friends, and you could give us some really fun adventure. But we didn't get any of that.
Yeah. So our rating, my rating.
Ooh, I have to look. I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more angry I get.
Well, my rating is stepping out for fresh air. And I think it's very fair because I did enjoy the first half of it, or the first, I don't know, the beginning of it. But it was bad enough where I was like, oh, I don't know. I wasn't excited to watch more of it. I hit a point where I was like, are we going to finish this or are we going to drop this? So yeah, stepping out for fresh air.
It's hard for me. I'm like, what's the bigger crime? Making a bad show from the beginning or squandering what should have been a good show? Like, what's the actual worst crime?
I don't know.
It's tough because, like, I think stepping out for fresh air is like where I was thinking, but like honestly, just for how pointless the end got, it's kind of land sickness because it just doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. And this is the show that like you could launch a franchise on. You could do many seasons of this show done right because I want to see more of these guys and I want to see more of the team and I want to explore each member of the team deeper. But the way you pissed away the ending, and it's not just the ending, it's not just the last episode, the way you pissed away the last half of your show, suddenly I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see any more of that.
Yeah. It could have been, seasons upon seasons of just adventure and like demon hunting.
If we would have turned this off halfway through, I would be wondering when season 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah, that show we need to finish. I wonder if season 2's out yet. But then you finish the show and go, don't worry. We're good.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Yeah, I'll say land sickness because the more we talk about it, the more disappointed I get.
Yeah. So that is it for us this week, and we are going on our summer break. So we will see you back in September, I think.
And for those of you who haven't listened to all, 4 seasons of this podcast we've done, so if you miss us in the break, just go back and watch old or listen to old episodes that we've done. We've watched a lot of dramas on this podcast already.
We have. And I do want to say thank you to all the listeners that have clicked on our YouTube episode of Beside the Sky.
Yeah.
Because we have hit 10,000 views on that one, which is a great feat for our
little tiny corner of Dramaland.
Yes.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you. I'm going to try to get some kind of edit, of the romance in Beside the Sky as like a little thank you present for our listeners. But I will get to that.
Don't hold your breath. We will see you next time, and thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you.